Hello everyone and welcome to the official SWGT YouTube channel. My name is Sarusa. Today we're going to take a look at SWGT Update 5.11.0, which has some huge updates to the account summary feature, some new guild site menu options, a brand new monster catalog, Hall of Heroes, and so much more. Let's take a look. The first update today takes us over to the monster catalog. If you go under Tools, you can go to Monster Catalog. And so now SWGT has available the entire monster catalog. So before, technically this feature was just for your account. It is called the Monster Collection. So this is different. This is every monster that is available to summon in the game, and it's available for everybody to use. I also have the Hall of Heroes monsters already linked automatically too. So if you want to look at just, let's say, all of the Hall of Hero monsters, or even better, if you want to take a look at all of the 4 stars, and now you can see, and we can group by family. You can now see that here are all the monsters that are grouped by family, and then which ones have the Hall of Heroes. So for instance, we haven't had Sonya, we haven't had Orang yet for Hall of Heroes yet. So those are obviously possibilities in the future. So just a nice clean way to look at monsters as well as Hall of Heroes. And of course you can click on any of these monsters and it will take you to the entire monster summary information where it shows you all of the skills and all of the skill effects that every monster has. If you are a SWGT personal subscriber or if you're on the public site, there are options too, of course, to see what defenses that are seen in the system as well. And of course the Hall of Heroes information will show anywhere where we show monster details. So if we go into Hall of Heroes and we pick a Hall of Heroes monster, you'll see that the Hall of Heroes has a date of when that monster was an actual Hall of Heroes. I believe I also added it on the hover as well. So just a nice little feature and enhancement to the overall platform. Another update today takes us over to the speed tech calculator. And if we go into the saves, I have added the thumbnails of the monsters. Now, kind of a neat feature, if I go through and add in, let's just say I add in a bunch of units. All right, so that's 6 monsters. Let's say I just pick these to be on the other team. And then I go over to saves, and I do a new save, and I just do for demo. And I save it. The monsters will actually show up in the order in which you added them, and then it also shows you which team they were on. So for instance, if you see I added in, there are 4 monsters on the blue team and 3 monsters on the red team. In the save, it'll actually will show you the same too as well. So just a nice little quality of life update from somebody who had recommended it on Discord. There was a bug under the Friends feature that was causing issues with accepting invites. I have gone through and fixed that in this update as well. And switching over to a guild site, under the guild menu, under team builder, I have gone through and added a couple new features. So number one, a lot of people have been complaining that their team builder plan shows the old map. So it doesn't show the newest map. So for instance, if I go in there and edit this map, you'll see that this one is currently showing season 13. But if I went ahead and copied this map, and now that we're in the map, you can see that the map has changed over. And so how it works in the background, the map is decided based on when the plan was created. So if you've created a map that had a old date, for instance, it'll of course show the old map, and then any plans from here on forward will of course show the new map. And I will be following that trend going forward if Comptus makes more changes to the map, so that way, in general, if they make map changes or as they make map changes, you can have your maps historically archived by the actual version of the map that actually comes out. So that is a nice feature there. Another nice option that I did go through and add in is a copy feature. So I've been getting a lot of people that have been saying, hey, I'm picking the first 2 monsters, and then the third one is kind of a wild card based on what LD5s are currently available. And so, that is why I have the alternate monster 1 and 2. But obviously some guilds, you need 5 monsters for a tower, and so you technically need 2 more, right? So instead of adding 2 more and making the screen for the assignments very, very difficult and hard to use, I did go through and add in a copy feature. So let's say instead of Kiki here, let's say we wanted to copy this tower and we made it Tian Lang instead. I don't know. So now you're going to have 2 different lines, one for the more Molly and Kiki, and one for the Molly and Tianlang. And so when you go in there and make assignments to these teams, obviously it will consume the monsters, and that's the whole point of using the team builder feature. So that way, if somebody has 5 Claras built, once you assign one, they now only have 4 available, and so on and so forth. So that is the big feature for Team Builder, and that's why this thing exists. While we're here on the guild site, we will go over the menu, and you'll notice that there is a new guild members menu now. So before on the old version, if I flip over to my old version and I go, you'll notice that there is no guild members menu option. So in order to get to the menu options that are now here available on the new version, you had to go into guild members, you had to find your member that you wanted to look at, and then you'd have to go to account analytic, this actual drop down, and then you'd have to go through and pick which option you wanted. And so it felt kind of clunky and buried, and I feel like a lot of people didn't even know that this menu option even existed. So my goal here is now under guild members, if we go under myself, all it shows is just the basics. There's nothing here. It's just the setup. It shows all of the basic information. And if I want to get to the other information, whether I pin the menu or I go to the main menu, now the account analytics, it's the same thing. Where under the guild members, you used to have all of these features here in the dropdown. They're now just up here in the top menu. And the benefit here is you can actually go through and any player that you're authorized to based on guild permissions, you can go through and view their information. Obviously if it is enabled and you have the permissions to view it, of course, but it makes it a quick and simple way to go through and flip-flop. So same screen, different player, I can go through and change it. So let's just say I pick on Crumb today. Crumb doesn't have their data uploaded, but if we go over to the performance summary, well, now you notice that I changed menu options, but I'm still looking at Crumb. That player focus didn't change. And so if I go down to, let's say, the Siege offense menu, that player is still there. And so if I change over back to myself, now I'm looking at my Siege performance. And if I go to another menu option, let's say Labyrinth performance, it still has the same context. So the menu will keep context of who you're currently looking at as you are flipping through. So it just makes it really nice, really simple and clean, allows the guild members and the guild leaders to get their information a whole lot easier and a whole lot cleaner. So really happy that I finally got this done. I've been meaning to do it for quite a while. So just in short, the menu that is once here on this drop down is now here under the top menu. And at the same time, under the site setup, I did go through and remove the menu option for the default menu option for that. It didn't make a whole lot of sense in order for us to actually have it. It is down here. So this menu option here, a default guild members page view, that is no longer needed anymore because it's now its own top menu item. So that is of course gone here on the site setup. Site setup is available for the super users of your guild site, for those who didn't know. All right, and last but not least is the account summary overhaul, which is why I'm sure all of you are here. So this is probably one of the biggest things that I've worked on in quite a while. I have been getting a lot of feedback from people that, hey, account summary is really nice. I of course love it a lot, but man, it'd be nice if it were a whole lot more customizable. And so that is what this version is all about. Plus there are some brand new metrics. So let's talk about it. Under the My Profile menu, under the Setup menu, if you go into your Setup menu now and you scroll down to the bottom, I have made the account summary area completely customizable. So the cool thing is that it's not only customizable by player, it's also customizable by guild. And actually what's neat is the way that I have it wired in, if you visit one of your SWGT personal friends on their account summary, you're actually going to get their configuration for their account summary. So just really helps to drum up the competition and allows you to share your information with friends and guild members if you guys so choose. On the guild site, the configuration is of course by guild. So under the setup menu under guilds, if I choose edit, there isn't the entire section down here for the account summary. So the account summary does have 3 individual sections. There is the rune settings, there is the monster settings, and then there is the artifact scorecards. We'll talk more about the scorecards here in just a hot second because that's a brand new topic here. But obviously, so for the account summary, the showing the averages and the graphs, if we come over to the account summary, so obviously the rune averages, right? These are the permutations that are these are the rune combinations, and then these of course are the graphs. The next setup option is for monster settings. So you're going to have the option to toggle on or off the LD5s, the Nat4s, and the monster duplicates. And then the last section, as I scroll down, you'll see the average artifact efficiency, which people are already used to. In this update under runes and artifacts, I did go through and add in a top 10 as an extra metric. I just thought it would be interesting to see what that number was in order to see how far it falls off. Obviously, you can look at your artifact and rune graphs in order to see how far things fall, but just as a quick metric, I thought it made sense. Plus, on smaller tablet screens, 5 of these tiles actually fit really nicely across versus 4, so that's why I added it. And now for the most exciting part of the update is the artifact scorecard. So this has been floating around for quite a bit. I have looked at and worked with Gustavi and Dylan and Lucky in the guilds for the EU and on the global server. There's also a spreadsheet floating around that has some of the stuff which is customizable, and I am planning on adding more to the account summary here in the near future. But for right now, I did go through and add in a fully customizable scorecard. So for instance, if we come back to the setup under artifacts, I can choose to not use the defaults. So the defaults today, the way that it is these lines are all going to be max blue. So for instance, water is up to 5 for a single roll. So including the base plus 2 more rolls, the minimum is going to be a 15. On the minus water side, it's going to be a minus 18 because it's actually 6 instead. And so I do have one quantity all the way down. You can go through and customize these to your heart's content. You can also increase and decrease your amount. So let's say you wanted to really focus on water being, let's say 20, and you can go through and copy these down. And let's say for these, you wanted it to be a 22 for water. And then let's say because you're working on Siege, you want to make these all 3. So when you save this and then you go to your account summary, it's going to give you a printout here where you can see that in white, you'll see these are all of the requirements, or not requirements, but the recommendations or suggestions or objectives, whatever you want to call it. And then here is your current value. So the way that it works is it'll be in red if you have none. If you have at least 1, but not the quantity that you need, it'll be yellow. If you have the exact amount, it'll be green. And if you have more than the amount, it'll be a darker green. So really nice feature and functionality. Thank you very much for Dylan and Lucky for working with me through all of this. I did go through on all of the sections on that spreadsheet and all of the ones that people are really looking for, and I have gone through and added it here. But just a really nice customizable functionality. And up at the top, there is a score for the left, the right, and all of your artifacts based on all of these individual groups, right? So on an individual group level, if I take a look at just this section, right, I'm missing quite a bit. So that would of course lower my score. This section, obviously, I'm doing a whole lot better, so that would increase my score. So overall, that is how it all works. So just a super nice feature. Thank you very much, everybody, again, who's been working with me on this. I do have an FAQ entry now in the platform as of this video, so that way I'm going to continue to update this. So that way everybody has the best information possible. But really nice functionality. Like I said, I am going to add in, that spreadsheet does have some more options and some more values. So I am going to go through and add that. Another thing that I did go through and add, and I'm going to do this on the personal side, this rune summary feature section is actually now customizable. So if we go to my profile and we go to setup, if I scroll on down and I choose to customize my rune sets. So I was talking with Dylan and he was saying, hey, you know what? I personally don't care about my top 5 Swift. On the production version before this video, it was set to 5 for Swift Will, 5 for Violent Will, 5 for Despair Will. You know, I only really care about my top 3 sets. And so, but for on Violent, I want to see my top 7 sets. And on my Despair, well, that's fine. I want 5, but you know, there are other permutations that you are missing. You know, for instance, I care about a Despair Nemesis set. So I can go through and say, I want to have 4 runes on Despair. I want to have a Nemesis of 2 runes, and I want to look at 3 on there. I can go through and do a Despair and Destroy. So let's say I want 4 runes of Despair and Destroy. I want to have 2 runes, and I just want to see what my fastest set is there. And then let's just say there is one option that just shows for a broken set. In this case, Dylan didn't want to be able to see anything broken set, so you just set this over to none, and the fastest broken set won't show anymore. And so when I come down here and save it, and I go to my account summary, you'll now see that this section is obviously a whole lot bigger. You'll see that I only have 3 Swift. You'll see that I have 7 Violent Will, and you'll see that I have my new sets now for my Despair Nemesis, my Despair Destroy, and so on. And so all of this is fully customizable now. You can add as much or as little as you like. I am focusing only on speed, only because the other sets, like for instance my best rage set or my best fight set, or my best fatal set, those are much more complex topics. The best rage set, well, what does that actually mean, right? So based on the unit, based on the base speed, based on the base attack, based on the crit damage that they have, and based on the crit rating that they have, what speed lead are you running? Like, best is really subjective. It's not just a simple thing as just like, this is my best rage set, because for instance, you could take a set and put it on Lucian, right? But a Lucian with a very high attack might do better than a Lucian with a very high crit damage. And so the only way that SWGT would be able to do that would be to run the millions of calculations and then try and calculate out the way that Swap does, what is your quote best, right? And so I'm not looking to replace Swap at any time in the future ever. If you want to look at what your best set is for Rage, you guys can use Swap and you can get that information over there. These are more meant for speed tuning and for applying into guilds and that kind of stuff. I am pondering, what if, to accommodate the quote best rage set, I am pondering, what if I gave you a functionality to say, if I come into my profile and I go to setup, what if I come down here and I gave you a way to say, create a custom rune combination, and then when you customize that rune combination, very similar to how we have it in Team Builder. So if we go up to Account Linux and go to Team Builder, and I come into here, very similar to here, where if I want to change a rune, what if I go through and allow you guys to add in the runes that you want for display on your account summary. So that way you kind of get the, you get the information that you're looking for, but it is objective up to you. Because again, rage sets and fatal sets are very unique, and the way that the damage output, matters based on the unit that you're going to actually put it on too, right? You could have an HP based unit versus an attack based unit, or a defense based unit like a copper or a bulldozer, right? Versus, let's say, a Lucian or a Julie, right? You could even have a monster with a base crit of 30 versus a base crit of 15. So kind of the way I was thinking, where if I were to ever implement it, I would implement it where you would create a custom rune combination. You would pick the runes that you want to show. And again, it is just for show and tell. So if you got a new rune, it's up to you to go through and change those runes out. So if I ever implement it, that's kind of the direction that I was going. So really nice updates this week. I spent a ton of time rewriting and overhauling the account summary feature. As I said, I am going to go through and add in the other elements in that spreadsheet. There is a rune scoring and areas that you should be farming, as well as a raid section as far as how your account looks for being able to do raid. So there are other metrics in there. I am looking through to adding those in there. I'm not sure if it'll be done this week. I'm actually going to be going on vacation here on the 13th until the end of the month. And so it's our big family trip for the end of the year. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to cram all that into the week, but I certainly will try. And that's it for today. I just wanted to say a thank you to all the Patreon members who subscribe to SWGT, and to all the people that constantly give feedback about the platform. It's only through your support and efforts that SWGT is what it is today. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. We all make SWGT better together. And with that, don't forget to smash those like buttons, and I'll see all of you on the battlefield.